Welcome to Vaughan Inglés 4.0, the radio show with Kyle Miller. Following class by class, step by step, the material of Vaughan Inglés 4.0 on Aprende Inglés TV. Clase 39. Class 39. Let's go! Beginner. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Welcome to class 39, beginner students. Yes. Ayer estuvimos practicando con cosas incontables en preguntas. Hemos visto preguntas. Is there any wine in the bottle? No. En negativo. No, there isn't. En casa? No, there isn't any. Eso es. No, there isn't any wine in the bottle. Is there any wine in the bottle? ¿Y si hay? Yes, there is some. Muy bien. Yes, there is some wine in the bottle. Ask me if there is any water in my glass. Pregúntame. Kyle. En voz alta en casa. Yes, Kyle. Is there any water in your glass? Y afirmativo, yes. There is some water in my glass. Y el negativo, no, there isn't, siempre con la contracción, there isn't. There is not. No, there isn't any water in my glass. Ask me if there's any sangria in the pitcher. Sangria en la jarra. La jarra, pitcher, pitcher, pitcher. Jarra, pitcher, pitcher, pitcher. Ask me if there's any sangria in the pitcher. Kyle, is there any sangria in the pitcher? No. No. Desafortunadamente, no hay. No. Es una pena, pero bueno. No. No, there isn't any sangria in the pitcher. Ask me if there's any Pepsi in my glass. Pepsi. La verdad es que prefiero Pepsi que Coca-Cola, ¿eh? En Canadá se bebe más Pepsi que Coca-Cola. Es raro, pero... Bueno, en España parece raro eso, ¿no? Pero en Canadá sí que bebe más Pepsi que Coca-Cola. Ask me if there's any Pepsi in my glass. Kyle, is there any Pepsi in your glass? Yes, there is some Pepsi in my glass. True. Ask me if there's any sugar in my Pepsi. Or if it's... Si tiene azúcar. Ask me if there is any sugar in my Pepsi. Bueno, podemos decir, does it have sugar? Si es Pepsi normal o es Pepsi Light. El Light no lleva azúcar. Y no es una pregunta normal decir... Is there any sugar in it? Pero se puede decir, is there any sugar in it? Is there any sugar in your Pepsi? Or is there an artificial sweetener? No es sacarina como pongamos en la café aquí en España, pero es otra cosa. Puede ser NutraSweet. En los años 80 y 90 usaban mucho NutraSweet, que era una cosa para endulzar las bebidas y eso. Bueno, endulzar, ¿no? Mejor dicho, mi palabra del día en español, endulzar, que estoy aprendiendo también, ¿eh? Endulzar. Bueno, NutraSweet, que es... lo que lleva se llama... O se llamaba, no sé si se usa todavía. En inglés, aspartame. Aspartame. Y eso no me gusta, ¿eh? Si bebo un vaso grande de una bebida con eso, aspartame, después de un vaso grande, me duele la cabeza. En serio, no sé si... Yo prefiero azúcar. Normal, natural. Prefiero eso, de verdad. Bueno... Ask me if there's any sugar in my Pepsi. Kyle, is there any sugar in your Pepsi? Yes, there's some sugar in my Pepsi. There isn't any NutraSweet. There isn't any aspartame. There isn't any Splenda. There isn't any saccharin sweeteners or whatever. There's sugar. Plain old sugar. De toda la vida. Sugar. White sugar. Yeah. In my Pepsi. Ask me if there's any beer in the bottle. Kyle, is there any beer in the bottle? No, there isn't any beer in the bottle. Eso después. Estoy trabajando. Estoy grabando. There isn't any beer in the bottle. There isn't any beer in the studio. No, there's Pepsi and there's coffee, but there isn't any beer in the studio. Pero todavía hay arena en mi zapato. From 2 days ago, estuve jugando al golf hace un par de días en la arena, practicando, intentando sacar la pelota de la arena, pero al final me quedé con arena en mi zapato. My shoe, there is some sand in my shoe. Bueno, pregúntame, ask me, Kyle, is there any sand in your shoe? Que sí. Desafortunadamente, sí. Yes, there is some sand in my shoe. Is there any sand in your shoe? Yes, there is some sand in my shoe. No, there isn't any sand in my shoe. There is some sand in my left shoe, but there isn't any sand in my right shoe. There's some Pepsi in my bottle, but there isn't any Pepsi in the pitcher, la jarra. No, there's some Pepsi in my bottle, but there isn't any Pepsi in the pitcher. Okay? Remember? Good. Now, with countables, are there any people in the room? ¿Hay gente en la habitación? Are there any people in the room? Yes, there are some people in the room. Yes, there are. Are there any elephants in your house? No, there aren't any elephants in my house. Ooh. Are there any tigers in this studio? Whoa, yes, there's a tiger. Yes, there are. There are tigers. Hay dos. There are tigers in the studio. Yes, there are tigers in the studio. Are there any rice fields in China? Yes, there are rice fields in China. Are there any bicycles in Spain? Yes, there are bicycles in Spain. Are there a lot of Eskimos in Madrid? No, there aren't a lot of Eskimos in Madrid. Are there a lot of olive trees? You remember this from yesterday, olive trees. Olivos. Are there a lot of olive trees in Andalusia? Yes, there are a lot of olive trees in Andalusia. Are there any art galleries in Bilbao? Claro. Yes. Yes, there are. Are there any fish in the ocean? Yes, there are. Okay, very good. Word of the day. Yes, it's time now for the word of the day. Our word of the day today is despierto. Despierto. ¿Cómo se dice eso en inglés? Awake. Awake. I'm not asleep. I'm awake. Awake. A-W-A-K-E. Awake. I'm awake. I'm not asleep. I'm awake. I wake up. Me despierto por la mañana. I wake up in the morning. I wake up in the morning and then I am awake. I am awake now. I will be awake until I go to sleep, until I fall asleep. And then I will be asleep until I wake up. And when I wake up, I will be awake. I will be awake until I fall asleep again. I'm awake now. Ask me if I'm awake or if I'm asleep. Kyle, are you awake or are you asleep? Very good. I'm awake. Am I asleep? No, you're not asleep. What am I? I'm awake. I'm awake. Awake. Pero awake. Awake. Yes, I'm awake. I'm not asleep. I'm awake. Okay, let's practice some questions. Pregúntame, ask me. En voz alta, siempre, siempre, siempre en voz alta en casa. Ask me if there are any books on the table. Kyle, are there any books on the table? Yes, there are. There are some books on the table. Ask me how many books there are on the table. Kyle, how many books are there on the table? How many books are there on the table? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 books on the table. It's true. There are 11 books on the table. It's better that. Ask me if there are any Americans in the studio. Americans de Estados Unidos, eh? I'm from North America. Canada is in North America. And Bolivia and Colombia and Venezuela and Brazil and Peru and Ecuador and Uruguay and all these countries are in South America. I am from North America, but I'm not, we would say an American, because Americans, los americanos, cuando digamos americanos, bueno, en inglés, Americans, hablamos de los Estados Unidos. Ask me if there are any Americans in the studio. Are there any Americans in the studio? No, there aren't any Americans in the studio. Ask me if there are any pencils in my pocket. Are there any pencils in your pocket? Muy bien. Momento. No, there aren't any pencils in my pocket. Very good. ¿Por qué hacemos eso? Ask me, pregúntame. Oh, Kyle está siempre. Ask me, tell me. Oh, es que... Pero estoy así porque tenemos que machacar las ideas, ¿vale? Practicando otra vez, y así aprendes en casa, ¿ok? Otra vez, repeat, over and over, hasta que es natural y sale sin esfuerzo. Eso es la idea, ¿vale? Entonces, siempre hay que hacerlo en casa y siempre en voz alta, siempre conmigo y en voz alta en casa, ¿vale? Muy bien. Ask me if there are any people in the office. Kyle, are there any people in the office? Yes, there are. Bueno, en el estudio, por arriba, hay oficina, y creo que no hay nadie. There's no one in the office. No, there isn't anyone in the office. But in the studio, yes, there's someone in the studio. There's me and Nacho, the technician. We're in the studio, just Nacho and I, alone, recording some radio shows, making some shows, making some magic here. Ask me if there are any pens on the table. Are there any pens on the table? No, there aren't any pens on the table. Ask me if there are any professional football teams in Canada. Are there any professional football teams in Canada? Yes, there are. Ask me if there are any plants in my house. Are there any plants in your house? Yes, there are plants in my house. There are some plants in my house. Ask me if there are any trees in front of my house. Are there any trees in front of your house? No, there aren't any trees in front of my house. Ah, no, mentira. Sí, yes. Yes, there are. There are some trees in front of my house. Son pequeños, pero sí. There are some trees in front of my house. Ask me if there are any people in this room other than me. Kyle, are there any people in that room other than you? In that room. Tú en casa tienes que decir that, porque no estás aquí conmigo. Parece, pero en realidad no estás aquí conmigo. Kyle, are there any people in that room other than you? In that room other than you? No, I'm alone. I'm alone in this room. There isn't anyone in this room. Hay Nacho, pero está en otra sala. Hay una ventana de cristal y está ahí Nacho. Pero en este lado, in this room, no, there's no one here. Only me. I'm alone. I'm alone in this room. Estoy aquí solo. Es verdad. Let's move on. Vocabulary of the day. Vocabulary of the day. Yes, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the vocabulary of the day. ¿Cómo se dice en inglés? León. Lion. 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 Very good. Lion. Y salón. Cuarto de estar. Living room. Living room. Nariz. Nose. Nose. Ask me if I have a big nose or a small nose. Kyle, do you have a big nose or a small nose? Bueno. I have a normal nose. Está normal. No es muy grande ni muy pequeño. Es normal. Padres. Parents. Parents. Yes, parents. We could have one parent, two parents. One father. Padre. Father. Okay? Parents. En plural. Parents. Entonces, no, en español, si digáis padre, estás hablando del padre. The father, the male. But in English, we have parents, but we could say one parent. I have two parents, but only one of them came here. There is one parent in the room. I'm not a parent because I don't have any children. I am not a parent. And my parents aren't here. My parents live in Canada. Cerdo. Cerdo. ¿Cómo se dice eso? Pig. Pig. Yeah, very good. Cerdo. Pig. Whoa, yeah. Ooh, pig. Muy bien. Okay, yes, it's time to move on. Vamos a practicar contables. There's some water in the bottle. There is some water in the bottle. There is water in this room. Some is in the bottle, and some is in the glass. There is Pepsi in this room also. Some is in the bottle, and some is on the table. It fell. I spilled it on the table. Some is in the bottle and some is on the table. There's some Fanta in the room, of course. Some is on the table and some is on the floor. Está por el suelo. Puf. Yes. There is some sand in this room. Some is in my shoe and some hay arena. Hay un poco en mi zapato. Some is in my shoe and some is on the floor. Mm-hmm. Some is. There is some water. Some is in the bottle, and some is in the glass. We are out of time. Nos hemos quedado sin tiempo. So I will finish there. But I will be back tomorrow for more. My name is Kyle, and I will see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.